Creating the right flavoring combination for a food, beverage, or packaged product can require multiple attempts on the bench and in the pilot plant. The speed with which the product passes through the lab will depend largely on the skills of the product developer. Even with in-depth knowledge of ingredient interactions and processes, the product may hit a snag in manufacturing. Working with small levels of ingredients, such as spices, flavorings, or high-potency compounds, requires exact measurements, plating, and pre-blending. The slightest misstep can summon QC to call for rework. That's why savvy companies seek the expertise and the specialists at Steviva Ingredients. Not only do they save the cost of research and development by relying on the supplier's R&D team, they save manufacturing expenses by using a pre-blend. Adding one ingredient to the mix rather than 5 or a dozen means there's less room for error. Assurance of purchasing a consistent product is a strong advantage. This is especially true for high-intensity sweeteners. Sweetening strength varies from sweetener to sweetener. Because a sweetener may be up to 600 times as sweet as sugar, it must be used in precise, minute quantities. A measuring error of as little as 100% can skew the flavor profile and throw the finished product out of spec. Inserting a high-intensity sweetener into the mix is more complicated than replacing sugar. Utilizing the R&D resources of a sweetener supplier maximizes efficiency by use of their intuitive knowledge. Every sweetener has unique sensorial attributes. All fall short of a drop in replacement for sugar. Like spices or flavors, each sweetener imparts its own taste and functional properties. While sugar's sweetness builds, rounds, and drops off slowly, high-intensity sweeteners tend to hit sharply and then linger. The presence or absence of other ingredients can magnify or mute sweetener tendencies. When certain sweeteners are used in tandem, their value exceeds their solo contribution. Making the most use of synergies optimizes flavor while lowering the levels of each must be used, ultimately reducing cost. Combinations of sweeteners yield the most pleasant results. Flavors become melded, smooth, and fuller. The flavors of blends of high-intensity sweeteners are balanced, so in some formulations, there may be more leeway. Understanding the nuances of each sweetener, the ways that it functions and the ways that it interacts with other ingredients, will shorten time to delivery of the idealized sweetening system for a beverage, confectionery, baked good, or other product. Steviva Ingredients' custom sweetening solutions deliver exactly the right sweetness for the product they are specifically designed for. Taste is more than interaction of flavor molecules upon the tongue. The way a product is perceived is the sum of multiple experiences, many of which are subliminal. How quickly sweetness is noted, how long it lasts, if it ends cleanly or lingers, if it imparts fullness, or if it is described as thin, are qualities that come into play. Having access to the Steviva Ingredients library of sweeteners, coupled with their intricate knowledge of each sweetener's idiosyncrasies, is critical to developing the sweetening target. Sometimes, additional ingredients are required to create the perception of fullness. The human tongue is sensitive to viscosity. Ideally, sweetening solutions should be customized to enhance the flavor of whatever product they are incorporated into. At the very least, they should never detract from the flavor. Just as these sweeteners can heighten the impact of some flavors, they can also soften the top notes of others. Similarly, the presence of other ingredients in the formula will have an effect on the overall perception of flavors. This is especially true of acids. The ratio of the sweetener and the acid depends on the food product. Some foods seek an ideal balance, but others are weighted towards sweet or sour. Yet, there's not a clear-cut demarcation. Acids are similar to sweeteners in that they come on at different times. They may dissipate quickly, or they may linger. Citric acid comes on very quickly, so it wouldn't automatically balance well with a high-intensity sweetener. Malic acid, on the other hand, is delayed. Sweeteners can also mask acids. The levels of the acid in the formula may need to be increased to get the desired effect. Acidic foods and beverages, as well as carbonation, diminish sweetness perception. In these cases, more sweetener may be required. Understanding the potential interactions and perceptions of all of the ingredients combined in the formula is paramount to developing the optimal sweetening system. Steviva Ingredients is here to help. If replacing sweetness were the only criteria, developers would be sufficiently challenged. But taste is just one of those roles sugar plays in foods. Some formulas come together easily. A trek to the R&D pantry and a few tweaks to percentages may be all that's necessary to hit the sweetness target. It's rarely that simple. Product development is more often an exercise of repetition. It's trial and error with multiple formulation attempts. Relying on a partner like Steviva Ingredients, who has deep sweetening experience, can simplify the process. Beginning with an understanding of the confidential ingredients in a formula, the seasoned applications team at Steviva Ingredients can customize a sweetening system to hit all the targets from sensory to functional attributes. Just like a seasoning house combines blends of spices, colors, and flavorings, Steviva Ingredients can create blends of sweetening compounds to deliver the optimum sweetness profile for a specific product. Maximizing synergies among sweeteners and other ingredients in the formula can reduce the cost of the formula. Sweetening premixes offer additional cost-saving benefits. Adding one ingredient instead of many reduces manufacturing steps as well as inventory, a benefit to both R&D and QC. Every application has its own requirements, so understanding the nuances of sweeteners alone or in tandem must be undertaken in the context of the finished product. Working with Steviva Ingredients will maximize efficiency in the number of passes at the bench and in the pilot plant, but also in terms of cost savings. Capitalizing on synergies between sweeteners and other ingredients can reduce the use of higher-cost ingredients such as flavors. Partnering with the experts at Steviva Ingredients will bring years of intuitive knowledge to your development efforts and will help take the mystery out of reduced calorie formulations. Since 1999, Steviva Ingredients has worked with manufacturers to create custom sweetening solutions of all particle sizes that function as a plug-in to replace sucrose, 10x sugar, invert sugar, and high fructose corn syrup. When you choose Steviva Ingredients as your supply chain partner for custom sweetening solutions, you can be assured of the highest quality, reliability, chemical-free processing, 100% natural products, clean label ingredients, GMO-free, gluten-free, diabetic-safe, and kosher. For spec sheets, documentation, and samples of Steviva Ingredients' entire line of good-for-you sweeteners, call your Steviva Ingredients sales representative at 310-455-9876 or email info@steviva.com. Steviva Ingredients, where sweeteners come naturally. Sweeteners come naturally.